Hi everyone, in this video I'll be talking about mud flaps. I've had the Tesla Mudflaps on my Model S Plaid for the last 30,000 miles. Show you what they look like, my thoughts on them. I'll be replacing them with the Sportline mud flaps. I'll tell you why. So why mud flaps for the Model S Plaid? It's an all-wheel drive car and the front tires protrude out a little bit beyond the fender at the bottom. And when that tire spins, on a rocky surface or a surface with some loose pebbles, that will send rocks flying to the back of the car. And with the fender flares, you can see how much the back has gotten pelted from rocks. I've had the Tesla Mudflap on, as I mentioned earlier, for about 30,000 miles. I wanted to go with the OEM Mudflap. It's been engineered for this car. And one design aspect that I really liked was that it did not stick out beyond the tire itself. I thought that it would help with drag, or at least not creating additional drag, which would impact range. The other aspect I liked about this particular mud flap is that it didn't rub up against the paint. So there's actually a gap between where it sits on the car and the side skirt or the painted surfaces. Now, I've had this on for a while now. This has curved a bit. It's looking a little bit tired, so I was looking to replace it. Why am I not replacing it with another Tesla Mudflap? Well, really, a couple things. One, this hangs really low. This is 1 inch off the ground. It scrapes all the time, which is not necessarily a problem per se, it's just annoying. Pulling it out of driveways or dips on the road, I always hear it scrape. So when shopping for a new Mudflap, I wanted one that would cover this area up to at least make this look a little bit better. And some additional protection would be good as well. Before I purchased the Tesla Mudflap, I had looked at Sportline. I dismissed it because it stuck out a little bit beyond the body and I was concerned about its impact on range. But at this point, I guess I just don't care as much anymore. There are other Mudflap designs like the one from RPM Tesla, which covers both the front and the back. That's actually a design that I had on my Model 3 Performance. However, for this car, I thought they stuck out a little bit too much, and I also didn't want a mud flap that rubbed up against the body or covered too much of the paint, just because of the potential damage it could cause to the paint from rubbing. Sportline mud flaps have been installed. Let's take a look. Carbon fiber finish is very sharp. Feels great. It's going to take me some time to get used to not having a mud flap that hangs low. The inside of the fender, which had a bunch of rock chips. That area is now covered up. Surprisingly, the mud flap does not protrude beyond the tire. It looked like that in the pictures, and that's why I had assumed, but that is not the case. It's pretty much flush with the tires, and I intentionally installed these while I had the OEM tires and wheels on with the aftermarket wheels that I have, which have a lower offset. They'll stick out a little bit more than the mud flap, even more so. So here's the back. Very streamlined design. And it covers up the chipped area nicely. It's very subtle. I like it. Let's take a closer look at the Tesla mud flaps. These are attached to the car with 2 plastic fasteners, one on the side and one on the bottom. Just using the OEM parts, so it didn't require any drilling or any additional screws or bolts. And these just clip onto the liner. Yep. So these serve their purpose for 30,000 miles. Yes, super dirty. Once again, really, I think they were just hanging a little bit too low and didn't cover enough of the fender for me. So fortunately, there wasn't any damage to the car with how low these hung, because they are very firm here, so if anything were to push up at a certain point, that would push into the fender, but no issues whatsoever. All right, so say goodbye to these mud flaps. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comments section. If you haven't already, would appreciate if you would like this video and subscribe to this channel. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.